In a couple of minutes, we'll be joining colleagues at the BBC World Service for a series of special programmes marking the life of Queen Elizabeth. So from me, good night. Take care of yourself.
You're listening to the BBC World Service. This is BBC News with coverage to mark the death of Her Majesty the Queen. I'm Rahul Tandon. Earlier today, Buckingham Palace announced that Queen Elizabeth II, Britain's longest reigning monarch, had died peacefully at her Scottish home at Balmoral. She was 96. The Queen's eldest son now becomes King Charles III. He said the death of his beloved mother was a moment of great sadness for him and all members of the royal family. People have been gathering outside Buckingham Palace and royal residences across the UK. We'll be with you for the next hour, with coverage looking back at her long life, her reign, the end of the Second Elizabethan era, and the impact she had both on the United Kingdom and on the Commonwealth of Nations. And we'll bring you reaction to her death. World leaders, past and present, have been sharing their reflections. We'll hear from some of them. First, though, let's get the news.
Hello, I'm Roisin Hastie with the BBC News. Britain's longest-serving monarch, Queen Elizabeth, has died. She was 96 and had reigned for 70 years. Buckingham Palace said the Queen died peacefully at Balmoral Castle in Scotland, where she'd spent much of the summer. Johnny Diamond has this report.
A short statement from Buckingham Palace just after midday was the first indication that the Queen's condition was serious. The statement said that the Queen's doctors were concerned for her health and had recommended that she remained under medical supervision. One by one, members of the royal family changed their plans and made their way towards Balmoral. At just after 6:30, a 26-word statement came from Buckingham Palace.
This is BBC News. We're interrupting our schedules for the following announcement. Buckingham Palace has announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
The King and the Queen Consort, the statement went on, would remain at Balmoral and would return to London on Friday. Across the country, across the world, flags were lowered in mourning and in respect. A lifetime of service had drawn to a close.
With her death, the Queen's eldest son, Charles, becomes the new king. He said the death of his beloved mother was a moment of greatest sadness. On Friday, he'll be officially named the new monarch, known as Charles III. Britain's new Prime Minister, Liz Truss, who's been in office since Tuesday, described the Queen as the rock on which modern Britain was built. Speaking in Downing Street, she said the monarch had been the very spirit of the country. The opposition leader, Keir Starmer, praised the Queen as the best of us.
For the vast majority of us, the late Queen has been simply the Queen, the only Queen. Above all else, our Queen. As we mourn her loss, we should also treasure her life, our longest serving and greatest ever monarch. Above the clashes of politics, she stood not for what the nation fought over, but what it agreed upon.
The leaders of Commonwealth countries have been expressing their gratitude to the Queen. President Akufo-Addo of Ghana described her as the rock that kept the organisation sturdy and true. The Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese paid this tribute.
This is a loss we feel deeply in Australia. Queen Elizabeth II is the only reigning monarch most of us have known, and the only one to ever visit Australia. And over the course of a remarkable 7 decades, Her Majesty was a rare and reassuring constant amidst rapid change.
World News from the BBC. Crowds remained outside Buckingham Palace well into the night in spite of sporadic heavy rain. Many people